Good Tuesday morning. Jerry Miller here on the I Love CVille Network. This is Real Talk, an insider's guide not only to real estate, but to life in general. We are live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Good show lined up for you. Heather Hill, our first guest, Charlottesville City Councilor, is going to join us in about 3 to 4 minutes to give us an update from City Hall. From her perch as a counselor here in the city of Charlottesville. Dale Herring from the Greene County Board of Supervisors, our second guest. Dale is going to join us roughly 10:45, and Jesse Rutherford of the Nelson County Board of Supervisors to start the 11 o'clock hour. This show powered by the Yes Team Realtors, Keith and Yonna Smith. And Judah, let's go to the studio camera and let's welcome the 1/8 of the Yes Team Realtors, because Yonna Smith is the 7/8.
Yeah.
Keith Smith, the star of the program, my friend, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Jerry. Thank you. As everybody's noticed, if they watch the show, today is no mustache day today. I usually wear a mustache taped to this and literally on the way over blown off the mask, so we'll have to figure out a different way. I think I have to actually sew it on or something like that.
I think the world has noticed that the distinguished gentleman is using the face mask now as a clothing accessory,
Okay.
and it looks rather good on you. He's evolved from the pocket square to the face mask.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew this was going to be a thing?
But that is what you are doing, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, whatever.
You've lined up a good show, my friend.
Yeah. So, the goal for today's show is, just to get out some good information. We have 3 rock stars of elected officials, and our goal is for them to share what's going on in their jurisdiction. Heather from the city's perspective, Dale from Greene County. We talk about this on the show all the time about how Greene County may be the next Zion's Crossroads or the next Crozet, so we're going to hear a little bit about that. Dale also works for the Greene County school system, so maybe we'll get a little bit of information about the Greene County school system. And then last but not least, we'll bring in Jesse from Nelson County to talk a little bit about how things are going out in Nelson County, and as we would refer to it, 150 fun, right? It's, Route 150 fun instead of 151, and what's going on with businesses out there and so forth and so on. So I'm going to turn it over to you and let you kick it off. And
we'll get Heather on the line. One interesting tidbit between the last time we did the show and today, Georgia's governor, a pioneer of some kind, whether he's right or wrong, Brian Kemp, a Republican governor, is saying on Friday, and this hits home close to you, on Friday, nail salons, massage therapists, bowling alleys, and gyms open on Friday.
You're referring to for the bowling alley.
I
right?
was referring to, you have an entrepreneur in your family.
Sure.
That is in that space. What did you make of that tidbit?
Yeah, so, a little bit of this is above my pay grade, right? So, I look at this, and we were talking about this off air, and we'll really talk about this with the Doctor of Economics on Friday. But, the way I kind of look at this thing, it's almost like a NASCAR start instead of a Formula One start. My wife and I are big racing fans. And, Formula One is kind of like a drag race. Everybody just takes off, right, and goes. And generally, that's where the accidents are. I think if we just pull the trigger and start the the country back on again, we're going to end up in phase 2 in a huge accident. I think if they do it like a NASCAR start where, the pace car kind of slowly does it and everybody's behind it and eventually they get up to speed, I think as far as a visual goes, that's probably the best way to do this. Again, I'm not a doctor of economics, right? I'm just a guy in the real estate space, but to me that makes sense. So hopefully we'll get more information this Friday. Excuse me.
Judah Wickhauer is our director. I'm going to reach out to Heather Hill now. Judah, Charlottesville City Councilor, and she's fabulous. We have a lot of respect for her on this program.
Sure.
She's a Charlottesville City Councilor, and she's given a tremendous amount of her most precious commodity, her time, to the community she loves, and that is Charlottesville, Virginia. Judah, do we have the A-OK to welcome Heather on the show? We do. So Heather, you are live on Real Talk. If you could give us an update, and thank you for joining us. So much transpires every single day. Every single day is different. Today's Tuesday. What is new on Tuesday, if you could give us an update?
What's challenging is I think like many of us are feeling, we don't know what day it is. It seems like, as we all keep saying, it's like Groundhog Day. So as a Tuesday, actually, we just came off of our Monday meeting last night. Oh, hey, hello, Keith. So we had our first fully virtual council meeting last evening, where we discussed things including maintaining our tax rate, giving some flexibility to folks on when their taxes are going to be due. We also talked through just kind of our approach with the budget, because obviously that's going to change dramatically from the work that our team did all last fall and leading into the winter and through the whole winter and into early spring. We are obviously having to make some shifts. So at this point, just making some wide assumptions about where we may be at, because we do need to pass a budget this year, but recognizing that there'll probably be some amendment processes that we need to go through. So at this point, council's aligned on holding our budget flat to this current fiscal year that we're in. There, we're just going to be working through with the departments on what our priorities need to be to meet the greatest needs in the community right now. And obviously our schools is another big component of that.
So Heather, first and foremost, can you hear me?
I can.
So thank you for doing this. I know you, and I know you guys are up to here in Alligators, working 24/7 on what you do for a living, plus representing us. So thank you very much. I'd like to start it off. How are you doing, and how's your family?
I would say that we're taking it one day at a time. Sure. I have 3 kids that are under 10, and so I'm gonna be honest, like it's been challenging for just kind of navigating even their education in this process, but just also the frustrations that come with, 3 kids who are used to being in a different environment. And so I have, as many people have said, a huge appreciation for our educators. I'm not a really great educator. I don't have the patience of an educator with my kids. But overall, I will say that silver lining is, my 4-year-old has basically been a part of my life since I was kind of starting to make the decision when she was in office, and then now I've been in office, but this is probably the most quality time that we've had together. And so I'll take that as kind of a blessing through that process. So we're doing well. Just feel fortunate to be in a climate where we can go outside and enjoy ourselves, knowing that some folks don't have that ability, and that we have outdoor space that we can kind of get rid of some of the extra energy in, and that's been a blessing as well.
So my wife and I, Yonna and I, were talking about this yesterday afternoon. We're empty nesters, right? By many, many years, right? It's been a long time since we've had little people in our house, and so we're just working 24/7, and we had to take a step back and go, well, hold it. What would that be like with little people running around? Like, all we have to worry about is a cat and 2 dogs, right? And walk them every couple of times during the day. So my hat's off to everybody that's trying to navigate what you're trying to navigate, which is take care of us, right? Plus take care of your family and be an awesome mother, which you are. So congratulations. My hat's off to you. We've been trying to ask in all these folks that we're bringing on. Thank you for the budget update. But where do you see us going? Do you? We talked in the beginning of the show, Georgia's trying to open up, and, everybody's got different opinions about that. As you know, my sister owns a hair salon shop, and, unfortunately, she opened up her brand new shop the same day the governor shut it down, so she didn't have a chance to operate. But I will go a little bit, that there are, some of the stimulus money's coming back in, so... how do you see it going? So just before you answer the question, I asked Congressman Riggleman the same question. So I'm asking everybody, what does this look like? And well, there's no magic answer, right?
Yeah, because, we raised this point last night. Like, our budget is relatively limited in our locality, and it's even more limited given a lot of our revenue streams are going to be suppressed, given the situation with a lot of local businesses, as well as people who are finding themselves challenging to get their real estate taxes in on time, and so we've tried to give as much leniency as we can. So I think one of the biggest opportunities, how do we set ourselves up for success in receiving stimulus dollars? What are those things we need to do as a locality to make sure that we're ready to go when those things become available, that we are set up for success in that way? And so that's something that I know that staff has been working on, and that we're talking amongst ourselves around, whether it's related to housing or whether it's related to infrastructure. we want to be in a position that as we recover out of this, that the dollars that we may not have gotten otherwise can be received, because there's just only so much we can do within our current structures. Top of mind for me, and I talk about this on this program a lot, is our area businesses and our small businesses, and how do we support them in recovery. And unfortunately, that doesn't mean that the city can allocate funding to bail everyone out, but how do we help support them? How do we create networks so that this process that might seem daunting for a small business owner is more able to be navigated with resources? This is just city resources, but regional resources and community resources coming together. And I think about our small business owners who are English isn't a first language. How do we match those folks up with the right folks to help navigate them through that, given that these forms are largely in English, perhaps in Spanish, but there's other languages that are barriers. And so having conversations with folks to understand that lens and that perspective. The biggest thing I've taken away from what I've seen over the last month and a half is just how amazing it's been to see so many different constituent groups coming together. This is not a city initiative. This is not just a county's initiatives or the universities. There's amazing grassroots efforts that are happening, and just to seeing those grassroots efforts getting together with some of the more formalized efforts in the sector, as well as from the localities, has just been really inspiring. And I think it's just building some tremendous bridges that are going to help us during this recovery.
So, amen, amen, amen. So we've been giving away gift cards, and as long as Yonna and I can financially do what we're doing, we're giving back as much as we can give back. And it's amazing. Every one of the gift cards that we gave out, usually it's Marie Bet, because that's my favorite hangout, right? But everybody...
Jason and Patrick will be so happy to hear that.
Yes. Yeah, he is,
Yes.
he is. So, but every time we give a card away, I call up the person who received it. They say, give it to somebody less fortunate than me. Give it to a homeless person, right? I mean, how awesome is that?
Beautiful.
Right? These are really... We got some really awesome people. And that starts with you. So congratulations to what you're doing. I'm going to let Jerry ask a couple of questions real quick, but I just want to thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Heather. A couple of questions coming in, and how about this one from a broad stroke standpoint, the role of UVA and this recovery, if you may. Just kind of broad stroke topic for you on there.
Well, right now I think what we're all kind of anticipating is the possibility that they will not return in the fall, and that has major implications to our economy and what this next year can look like. I think it's just important, as much as, certainly the university takes criticism over time about its impact on the community, but this is showing loud and clear the positive impact that it has on our community when it's operating as it should, and how much that drives our economy and jobs here locally. And so I think that right now it's just a lot of uncertainty around when that's going to be kind of coming back into a normalcy. Hopefully we'll have more information on that in the next month, but it's significant. And then second to that is obviously the health system. And they've played such a huge role at a state level in the testing that's being done and some of the steps that are forward in terms of our health system. So I just first of all want to commend also just the broader community, given how the relatively few cases that we do have here. Thank you all for following the instructions that have been passed down from our state and our local officials to, take caution and to spread that social distancing. We certainly recognize how challenging that is, but we want to be able to recover through this so that students can come back and we have a action again, because that certainly is a huge driver here locally. As in addition to just all of us getting out and frequenting our local businesses, but we really have to kind of hunker down right now in order to prevent future waves of this from happening. So we can really let this take its course, and hopefully there'll be enough testing and that'll allow us to then have more slowly reopen this economy.
One of the things I think we've both admired, and so many people have admired about you, is your, proponent of the small business community and a huge supporter of the small business community. Just take the restaurants. So many friends we have. These are our neighbors, people we see at the gym on the downtown mall here. Not even getting into the weeds here or too specifics, but just like the restaurants in Charlottesville and the restaurants in the country here. What do we do? Where do we go? How do we recover with this category?
it's really going to take a lot of people coming together. So for example, I mean, those restaurant owners who may own their buildings, it's a different scenario. It's still a challenging scenario versus those that are renting. And how do we work with landlords that we all just give each other a little flex and we all kind of have to contribute or reduce costs just enough to make this sustainable, because over a certain number of months, it becomes impossible for many to be able to sustain. And what's tricky is that for some of these loans, they need to maintain payroll of a certain percentage of employees. And that makes it challenging, because then it's just, if you don't get those loans, then but in the effort to try to secure those loans, you've continued to pay what you need to. I mean, we are certainly encouraging anyone who can continue to contribute funds to our restaurants so that additional staff who may not be working can be paid. It has to be a priority. And that's how we feel with the city. Like, we want to continue to keep as many city employees on payroll for as long as we can, for as much of their salary as we can, because otherwise that's just, putting more folks into the community that are going to be fighting that need for food and shelter. And we don't want to, then it just comes back on all the needs that are going to have to be met that way. And so when I look at the restaurant community, it's so heavy in my heart. I'm a frequenter of our local restaurants for sure. And I already can sense that some have made it very public that they aren't going to be able to return from this. Obviously, at the macro level, that has a huge impact on that revenue stream for our community. But to me, it's more important. It's just the cultural impact it has. They're like the lifeblood of that for us. And I just am really struggling. But I do think it's going to take all of us working together. Again, how do we help work with them to understand what resources can be available for them at the state and the federal level? How do we work with local landlords to kind of give some of that grace to those? Because quite frankly, it's not like anyone else is going to come into those places
Right.
in a few months.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
it's better for us just to maintain those businesses there as best we can. And so I'm having conversations with leaders in the business community, and certainly, obviously, our economic development office is continuing to be a support for them.
That's good right there. The Downtown Grill closed yesterday, which was a
I
bummer.
heard that.
Keith, you have some to jump in.
Yeah, so, the UVA component, I have some connections at some higher levels over there, and some of the feedback I'm getting is quite similar to what we may not be back in August, but I don't think that decision's actually been made yet.
Right.
So I just want to caution everybody who's watching that that's not a final decision yet.
Oh, no, and I wasn't saying
no,
I think it's something that we're having to contemplate. There could be a possibility.
I just wanted to clarify that. Yeah. But more importantly, I also have connections at the executive level at the hospital, and they are losing $80 million a month. That is an unsustainable amount of money. Now, apparently, the federal government is going to be doing a fourth version of the stimulus, and some of it apparently is going to be earmarked to help hospitals, which they desperately need. But any organization can't lose $80 million a month and stay viable. So it's important that
That's a startling number.
Huge number, $80 million a month.
Well, and it's hard because you think about that hospitals, in many areas are just slammed, but they're slammed with work that isn't always the most revenue generating. And so while all these elective surgeries or other planned surgeries are not happening, that's what drives the bloodletting.
Sure.
And
it's a business, right? It's a business.
Yeah.
So Heather, I promised you I was only going to take 15 minutes of your time. I know that you're extremely.
Well, so far, no kids have run in here, so that's been. I've got 3 doors with me and
it's totally
children,
allowed and welcomed, please.
Yeah, it would be great.
It would be awesome. Actually, we were just talking, Jerry. I think next Tuesday I'm going to bring in my grandson because we have breakfast every morning via FaceTime.
Give her a good question.
Well, I have no shrinking violets in this house, so they will not be shy.
Well, you're from New York. What do you expect, right? So look, where do you want to go, right? This is your opportunity to say whatever you wish to say and offer some encouragement, but there are people that are frightened, right? There are business owners worried about losing their businesses. At one point in time, we were number 14 in the country as number of restaurants per capita. I suspect that's going to change. People are frightened. You are an excellent leader and a very soothing speaker, so any great piece of advice you could offer would be appreciated.
Well, I think some of this was echoed last night by my colleagues as well as myself. We have to get back to the root of it. We are all humans in this. And like it says, we are sharing many of the same experiences. Others are feeling it certainly much more significantly. And so we have to recognize what can we do to have our part in taking our own skills, our own financial resources to really helping those that are most vulnerable in our community. But more than anything, just being kind to each other. Like, just obviously there's social distancing, but even when I'm out for a run, just to like say hello to people and just acknowledge, like, we are all human beings. We're working through this together, and we need to support each other. And as much as like many of us just want to hug, we can't do that.
Virtual
but there are
hug.
other ways that we
Virtual
can just
hug.
kind of, yes, and just kind of reach out and connect with people in any ways that we can, and not hesitate to make sure that your neighbor is well and thriving as much as they can in these circumstances. But I think that, just having courage and be kind, as are words I try to relate to my children. It's just kind of the foundation of where we are, and that kindness could come in the form of giving rent relief to someone who's renting from you if you're a landlord. It could come in the form of, again, buying those gift certificates for the restaurants that are struggling. It could come in the form of donating to the Emergency Relief Fund for the CACF, which is a great resource, and they're certainly helping us to work to distribute dollars to those who need it the most. And so there's so many ways we can do it. We can also do it by just keeping our distance from each other, and to keep each other safe and healthy.
So this is why I love having you on. Love any conversation we ever have. You're a super positive
She's
person. Awesome. We've been talking about this for 6 weeks now, right? 2 shows a week, and be kind to one another, stay positive. This is the time to love on one another. We talked about this the other day. I mean, I'm seeing neighbors that I haven't seen in 20 years.
Right.
And we're reconnecting. And man, this is a horrible thing we're going through, but that's not a bad thing. So there is some positive in this.
And I'm not sure what timeline we have.
No, go ahead.
Right now.
You can have as much time as you like.
I was just hearing this on the NPR yesterday. Just they were saying that historically, like this generation of all of us, and whatever age we are more disconnected before this pandemic than prior generations. And quite frankly, it's because of technology. And I think that this type of experience is kind of reminding us, like, I'll be honest, when this is done, I want to just throw my phone in the trash for a while. I'm just so over this kind of conversation. I would much rather be in there with you both.
Amen.
And so I think it's been a great lesson, I think, for so many people about the importance of that person connectedness. And now that you can't have it, it's like a kid, you tell them they can't have something, they want it even more. But at the same time, it's reminding us our lives have actually been kind of poisoned by just our reliance on technology so much anyway. I mean, it's just, I'm realizing how important those moments are, because I have been stuck at home with my family for the last 6 weeks. But when we get out of this, I'm going to miss them, and I'm going to want to really cherish those things and really kind of take a step away from the devices if I can.
So I can talk about that a little bit from reality from our world, right? From the real estate world. And it is amazing how much this got put down. It's funny. You know what this is? This is actually a phone, right?
Yeah.
You can actually talk to people on this thing. It's an amazing thing, right? What's the number one use for this? I think it's a calculator or a flashlight or something like
Facebook.
that. Right? But we've found that all these texts and emails have gone away, and people are actually communicating with each other. And my wife and I who knew I like to talk, so it's a good thing. but so Heather, thank you.
Let the counselor go.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
You and I could talk
me.
for
I'm
hours.
happy to come back.
See you later.
Heather, you are awesome. Thank you so much.
Gary.
Heather's great. Thank you for joining us on the show. She's fabulous. Think about this. And, politics aside, I just want to throw this out there. Councilor Hill and Mayor Walker.
Sure.
They're 2 times on council.
Sure.
Right after August 12th.
Sure.
And now COVID-19.
Sure.
Politics aside,
Man,
we got to give respect to that.
I don't care, you're 100% right. I don't care what stripes you happen to be wearing politically.
Yeah.
That's just that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work in one term.
And, and that's hopefully we come from this in these interviews with these elected officials. They're human beings. They put their pants on just like you and I put our pants on, and one leg at a time. And, their heart's in the right place. We may not agree with them on something, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But just be respectful to one another.
Well said. Well said. Heather Hill absolutely crushed it. And if you're tuning into the program or you're catching the middle of the interview we just had with Councilor Heather Hill, she's fabulous. The show is going to be archived on the YesTeamRealtors.com and on ILoveCVille.com.
Yeah.
We have another fabulous guest coming up, and Dale Herring. Before I get Dale on Skype and Judah, I'm going to reach out to him in about 90 seconds. Give a little introduction to Dale.
So Dale's a bit of a rock star. We've known Dale. I've known Dale for quite some time. He and I sit both on the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission and been for quite some time. He happens to be our chairman over there, so I guess I have to be a little respectful towards him. I don't know why that would change today than any other day. But he's also worked for the Greene County Board of, excuse me, not the Board of Supervisors, but the school board. So hopefully he'll share, what's going on from the supervisor's perspective, but also maybe he can share some enlightenment on how Greene County school systems are adapting to this. But he's a lot of fun. Love every conversation I ever had with him, and we may just you may have to kick me off because we'll be talking forever.
Judah Wickower is our director. Judah, I'm going to go to Dale here shortly. I want to give you a heads up. He's kind enough to join us from the Greene County Board of Supervisors. Dale, do we have the green light to welcome Dale, Judah, with a thumbs up? We do. And Dale, you're going to be live here on Real Talk for quite a lot of people. Heather Hill, Charlottesville City Councilor, joined us moments ago. You are now live. Dale, before we go anywhere, just introduce yourself to the viewing public, who you are, passions, hobbies, and interests, what you're all about.
Okay. My name is Dale Herring. I'm currently the at-large Board of Supervisor member. Live in Greene County, been in Greene County my whole life. Plenty of passions, and right now, like everybody else, we're just concerned about COVID-19 and how we can get through this the situation we're in.
Fair enough. One more question, I'll pass it to Keith. What is the temperature in Greene with COVID-19? How's your community? How are your neighbors? How are your friends?
So far, Greene has pulled together as a community, and we've worked together to get through this situation. How you doing, sir? Nice to see you. It's taking place as far as local government, as far as the schools, churches, and all of our community events. But we are pulling together as one community, and we feel that we'll get through this as a community. And once it's all said and done, we feel like we'll be stronger because of it. We did have a report today that we do have one fatality in our community, and that's recent. So we're obviously we're very concerned about that, and our thoughts and prayers goes out to that family. And of course, the cases will continue to increase in numbers as the testing increases.
Yeah, that's kind of breaking news on the death. So thank you for sharing that, Dale. One of the things that's a great app, if you have your Weather Channel app on your phone and you type in a zip code, it can tell you what the current cases are and deaths. So I believe you've got the first death in the jurisdictions, and we're gonna check that out. But I know Flavanna doesn't have one. And I thought Charlottesville didn't.
That's not something we strive to. That's not a goal we strive to achieve.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to start a little bit on a higher level than that. So thank you for sharing that breaking news.
Okay.
I'm looking at all the jurisdictions within, and apparently you have the first death. Don't know if that's something we should be proud of, but thank you for sharing.
That is breaking news.
Thank you for sharing that breaking news. So. We know each other for quite some time. Think the world of you.
We have.
And
Appreciate that.
I think that's the first time you called me sir. So usually you tell me, shut up, Smith. Is usually what you say.
Not always.
Usually that's what you say with the gavel. But how you doing? How's the family? How's Dale doing, man? We haven't spoken or seen each other for some time. So I just want to check in on you.
I appreciate that. I'm doing well. I feel lucky. I feel that I'm doing better than a lot of people are. My job basically actually has increased in demand over the past couple of weeks. My family is healthy. My daughter is a nurse at the University of Virginia Hospital, so obviously I worry about her and what she's exposed to. Her husband works there as well. But all family members are healthy. My parents are isolated. They are at risk category as far as age goes and some health conditions. My brother and I take turns to make sure that we get their groceries for them and take care of them as best we can. And as far as the county goes, I've got to be honest with you. There are a lot of nights that I wake up and I just can't go back to sleep because I'm just sitting back, thinking about the situation, what more we can do for our neighbors and friends. And right now, it's one of the things all we do is just wait and hope for the best.
So let's talk a little bit about that for a second. So
Sure.
what resources are available from Greene County, right? Website. We had some conversations with some of the other elected officials. For those who may not have Wi-Fi or may not have this, is there a phone number that they can call? I realize we're on a Facebook Live thing, but we're able to shed some information outside of this platform. So, where can they check on a website, and where can they call to get information?
Based on our website, it's greenecountygov.va, or greenecountyva.gov. I apologize for that. If you go to our website for Greene County, there's a COVID-19 banner up there that has all the related information concerning local government, as far as what the office hours are, as far as I can get service. Local government is still running. Our EMS services are still running. You'll find that if you call 911, you'll get more extensive questions to determine if you are a COVID-19 or if you're at risk of having COVID-19. And that's for protection of our first responders. The schools themselves are closed. The buildings are closed, but we are still serving food to those individuals that need food. In fact, as of last Wednesday, April 15th, I think they had served 17,000 meals since all this started. And they're hoping those numbers will increase. Hotspots throughout the county. We do have the schools, hotspots are available, or the actual networks available in the school parking lots, but also a lot of providers, such as Xfinity, has opened up their hotspots for anybody to connect to those that need to. We, as a school division, are looking for mobile hotspots, trying to determine if we get buses to act as hotspots to provide services to our citizens and to our have the ability to take home a Chromebook with them to do their online instruction. Our EOC for the county, Emergency Operations Center, is still up and running. They're a great source of information. And if you have any call the county office building, if it's for a student, just call the schools, and they would definitely get the information back to you.
Thank you for joining us here, Dale. I got a couple questions for you here. You're
Sure.
a leader in the community. People look up to you. This is a topic that's come up on the show many times. It's the dynamic or the crossroads between what's good for mankind and humanity and us as people, and what's good for the small business community and getting the local economy going again, so we can preserve and save companies, get people working again, get some cash in people's pockets, which is important here. This is a tough topic because it's such a fine line to straddle here. I'm going to throw this entire topic to you. You go anywhere you want when it comes to this here.
Okay. Sounds good. It is a question, especially being a local government, you're concerned about your businesses and your business owners. As March, our economy was growing, local government, our economy was growing, the state economy was growing, and we had a lot of projects that were in the works for our community. When all this broke loose, of course, businesses effectively shut down. We still have businesses at Greene that are operating through drive-through for our fast food. Our grocery stores are still operations. They stay pretty busy. So the question is, do you relax restrictions, or do you, to improve the economy, or do you keep the restrictions as they are for the health of the community? I think we need to be very careful in what we're doing. I'll explain why. I think if you relax restrictions too early, then we could see several peaks in this virus, and that could be more devastating to us long term. I think if we do a gradual relaxing of our restrictions, our economy will begin to pick back up slowly, and the health risk will be minimized going forward. And that's up to professionals to dictate. As a supervisor, I'm not going to say we should or should not. I'm going to rely on professionals to let us know when that time is. The safety and well-being of our citizens is our priority. If people are healthy, then they'll go and spend money in the economy. If they're not healthy, even when the economy opens up, they won't be spending their money because they have more important concerns. So as a supervisor, my first and foremost concern is the safety and well-being of our citizens. And we're going to rely on the experts for information.
Very well said. And I've said many times on this network that Greene County is a pro-business community, that Greene County is a phenomenal place to launch a company and launch a startup and a small business, that it's super supportive for these types of endeavors. What do you say to the folks in Greene County when it comes to the 2021 budget? It's obviously going to be impacted by an economic closure and what's happening right now. How do we maintain perspective moving forward?
We are concerned about the 2021 budget as far as the impact on our locality, as far as the schools and constitutional officers as well. We will get through this. We have been through tough times before as a community. In fact, if you look at our history throughout past 10, 20, 30, and 40 years, we've had much tougher times than this. We'll sit back. We'll do what's needed to be done to make sure, first off, our citizens are safe. We'll do what's needed to bring education back online, and we'll do what's necessary to make sure our businesses have an opportunity to thrive. So those are our goals as a community, and we'll look at what we can do as a local government to help reach those goals. But we'll get through this. We've been through much tougher times in the past as a county.
So the topic for this month's set of shows is "This Too Shall Pass." So thank you for sharing that perspective. And one of the reasons why I was excited to have you on, mostly because I enjoy you.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I enjoy our conversations.
Appreciate that.
But you wear two hats in this circumstances, right? So you were an elected official hat, plus you also work for the school board. So we kind of talked enough, I think, about the elected official side. So how we were just talking to Heather Hill that UVA is potentially, we don't know this for a fact yet, but potentially may not open up for August. How is that looking from a Greene County's perspective?
Well, as far as the schools go, we know for sure that we're closed through the rest of this current school year. We don't know concerning August. We're hopeful that when August gets here, the school can open up as normal. Right now, our staff is doing online instruction for our students. What needs to be done to make sure our students have all the resources they need to continue their educational experience within Greene County. So whatever that may be, whatever goals or obstacles are before us, we'll overcome those. When the governor announced that schools were closed for the rest of the school year, a lot of transitions began to take place because then we had a definitive date and time, and we had something to work with. So we prepared online instruction, got the devices to the students, and we started moving forward.
So I want to talk about that for a second because I want to make sure I heard that right. So I've got a microphone in one ear and hearing aid in the other ear, so it gets a little gets in the hollow between my head. It gets a little.
That's a scary spot, Smith.
That's a very scary spot to be inside there, and you two gentlemen know that better than anybody. But did I hear this right? Does every one of your students have availability of a Chromebook? Did I hear that right?
Every student that wanted a Chromebook, wanted a device, could come and pick up a Chromebook. We have a 1-1 initiative through grades 2 through 12, for the take-home initiative, grades 8 through 11, before all this started. And so when this started, and the government made an announcement at 2 o'clock on Monday, by Thursday at 10 a.m. the same week, all parents could come by and pick up a Chromebook for their students. So we have Chromebooks available for all students.
Man, I can't.
It's amazing.
Can't speak of other school systems, but is that the case for other school systems, or that's kind of something you guys excelling at?
We try to excel at it. I would like to say it's not the case for every division, but I would probably say that we're probably one of many. As Chromebooks, the price have dropped considerably. We are a Google shop, and so we have been buying these instead of laptops over the past several years. I'm sure other divisions are the same. And whether other divisions offer Chromebooks to all their students, I don't know. We just feel like that was the direction we had to go in to continue education. We feel like that our students need to have that resource available to them. We understand it's going to be an issue because we probably won't get all those devices back, but we feel like that risk was worth taking, and the cost is very minimum compared to what we're going to lose if we don't do something like this.
Well, if I remember correctly, your role is you're the IT guy for the
Director of Technology, right? So all the parents that call in, all the students that call in, all the teachers that call in so far.
How do I turn this thing off? How do I turn this thing off? So just not to end it on a bummer, right? But when you were talking to Jerry, as of this morning, Charlottesville has 41 cases, 0 deaths. Flavanna, 68 cases. That was mostly due to this nursing home, which about 40, 0 deaths. Nelson, 6 cases, 0 deaths. Louisa, 35 cases, 0 deaths. And apparently they haven't updated it, but you've got 8 cases. And according to what I can read on the CDC, it's 0, but actually we have 1 now.
That's what I was told this morning. We have 2 in the hospital, 8 cases, and 1 fatality.
So, hey, thank you for sharing the breaking news. But, hey, thank you for what you're doing. I mean, thank you for getting
Appreciate
Chromebooks to
that.
people and being in front of that. I mean, that's huge. So I'm going to pass it back to Jerry. Thank you for everything. And I guess we're going to have a commission
Thank
meeting
you.
sometime soon, right?
Sounds good. We will, maybe electronically.
Wish you the best, Dale. Thank you, my friend. Thanks for coming on the show. Dale, kind enough to join us. Keith Smith, that's breaking news, and
Yeah,
it's
what a
not
bummer
something we
breaking.
want to,
Yeah.
we're not reveling in, but that is not reported anywhere. Board of Supervisors here on Real Talk, powered by the Yes Team. 1 death now in Greene County, Virginia, to COVID-19. It's the first municipality in the Thomas Jefferson footprint.
Well, I missed actually Albemarle County, so I'm going to look at that just to make sure.
Okay,
that
so
we're
you're
giving-
checking that, because I want to recap those numbers too,
Sure.
because that app stays pretty much up to date.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Real Talk, guys, powered by the Yes Team Realtors, powered by Roy Wheeler Realty Company, a trusted advisor in the real estate game. Roy Wheeler Realty Company. Jesse Rutherford, Nelson County Board of Supervisors. He is still to come on the program as we catch up with one of the leaders in Nelson County on the temperature of Nelson and the community and the business stratosphere and just what's going on there. I'm very curious there. And in Real Talk, breaking news with the first death, I believe, in the Thomas Jefferson footprint
Yeah, so
to
Albemarle,
COVID-19.
so Albemarle County is 66 0 deaths.
Okay, read those stats again.
Hold on a second.
66 and 0.
Yeah, so Charlottesville's 41 and 0, Fulvana's 68 and 0, but most of that was the nursing home. Nelson County is 6 and 0, Louise is 35 and 0, Albemarle County is 66 and 0, and now Greene is 8 with 1 death. So that is the first death within our jurisdictional MPO footprint. So, man, that's not the news I wanted to be breaking
No.
today. That's
No,
kind
it's a testament to the show
yeah.
and what we're building here and the connections of your Rolodex there, our Board of Supervisors, willing to go on the record on an audio and visual format, reporting the first death in Central Virginia to COVID-19. And
Yeah.
the other sobering statistic mentioned on this program, and I'm going to get Jesse, Judah, I'm going to get Jesse Rutherford here in 45 seconds. Your statistic during the Heather Hill interview, the University of Virginia hospital system is losing $80 million a month
Yeah.
during this COVID-19 world.
Yeah, that comes from a pretty reliable source.
That is startling.
Yeah. So, apologize, everybody. Yeah, so, this rolling start at some point is going to have to start. And as Dale said, we leave this to the professionals and the people that are a lot smarter than us. But, that's an unsustainable amount of money.
Yeah, that is an unsustainable amount. Jesse, hang tight for a second. Judah, we have Jesse on the line. Can we go to Jesse? I'm getting the green light from Judah Wickhauer to go to Jesse Rutherford. Jesse, you are live on Real Talk on the I Love CVille Network. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, take an opportunity to introduce yourself to the viewing public, please.
Yes, my name is Jesse Rutherford. I'm the East District representative here in Nelson County that has the town of Livingston as well as the precinct of Schuyler. So, a little bit small town district, but a great one. And getting to see a lot of greatness in the last couple of weeks and the best of people.
I love that.
That has been the theme for the show. Everybody is this is, we just, as you may have known, the Dale just broke news that we got our first death in the jurisdiction, in the MPO.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and his
I hate you.
yeah. So it's
What's the temperature in Nelson County?
I don't know. I haven't stepped outside.
that's not what he's talking about.
If we're talking about coronavirus temperature, I would say, they're nervous. There definitely is.
So
it's kind of sad. It's sad to see some people take it a little bit to a degree that I think is extreme. And then you have the other side of that where there's a lot of people who aren't taking it very seriously, and both those people, I hope shows like this help bring some certainty to the table for them,
well,
and some comfort.
and that's why we invite guys like you on and folks like Heather and congressman, and we've got a national renowned doctor of economics coming in on Friday. So hey man, I'm going to start this off. You know, we know each other for a while.
Yeah.
We know each other's families for a while.
Oh yeah.
So how's the family doing? How's your brother doing? Everybody healthy? Parents good?
Yeah. Yep.
Give
Right.
me-
Everybody's, I tell you what, one thing that this allowed me to be, and I think it's been healthy for a lot of us, a lot of people, is, more personal. A conversation's now a deliberate conversation. It's not the I'm too busy to go talk to this person. No, it's actually when you talk to them, it's real conversations. And some, I've had, I know for, my family, that's been a great thing. I know, even in that stress and uncertainty of jobs and business and all those things, but, in terms of family, it's been great. It's been, great to see that.
So my mother and father live like 3 miles away from me. They're on one side of Lake Monticello. I'm on the other side of Lake Monticello. So I've got a 40-foot wide front porch, and I invited my mother over for tea the other day, and she sat on one end of the porch, and I sat on the other end of the porch, and we all wore our masks and our little rubber gloves. And you know what? I sat down and I had an hour conversation with my mother. And I'm not proud to say this, but prior to that, I would be, I'm sorry, Mom, I'm too busy. Sorry, Mom, I'm too busy. I'm sorry, Mom, I'm too busy. And I woke up one morning and went, so there's no FCC rules here. I woke up one morning and I said, bullshit, I am not busy today. And I invited Mom over. And the first thing she said, so where's the cake? So all I had was tea. I didn't have cake. So I said, I'm sorry, Mom.
Man.
I will. Cake is next time. So I'm going to go to Marie Bet and pick up something and invite her over for tea this afternoon.
So, by the way, that's a very nice mask you have.
Thank you. I've been sporting it. Normally, I have a mustache taped to it.
Okay,
Jesse,
good.
he's turned the mask into a fashion accessory.
No, I can see that. I mean,
He's gone from pocket square to mask now, Jesse.
Okay, let's talk.
Holy
let's
cow,
talk
man.
business, guys. Okay.
Can you get me a couple of
I
those?
can.
I can. Really good on me. Yeah.
It's a.
It's going to cost you $10 a piece,
It's going to
dude.
cost you 10 bills.
That's extortion. Okay.
No. It's a friend of ours who's an artist. They're Syrian refugees, and I'll send you the email link. It's pretty good.
All right.
And I've got an extra one. I've got to go pick up some more gin from Riggleman, so I'll chase you down and
holler at me,
we'll
bro.
holler you down.
Holler
So
at me.
hey, man. So let's talk about Nelson, right? Nelson is pretty much on the low end of the scale, right? You've got six cases. Thank God, 0 deaths.
Yes.
But how
Absolutely.
how can people in your jurisdiction, in your county, get information? So this is a twofold question. One is we realize the internet, but right, and you're blessed in Nelson County because you guys a long time ago decided to put in some fiber. So you guys got high-speed internet where most don't. Rural broadband. But how can they get it, and what phone number can they call?
So you say in terms of broadband?
No,
thing,
sir. So if I'm a resident in Nelson County, where do I go to get COVID-19 information?
To get COVID-19, you got to go on VDH's website, Virginia Department of Health. I have been pointing most of my constituents to that website specifically. I share as best as I can on Facebook. It's kind of hard to keep up with, and I'm also not an epidemiologist or whatever that is. So I try not to get too nitty of the gritty. So VDH has been a powerful tool for us, giving some folks some pointers on, if you're going to have a gathering, how to be safe and how to be distant and those things, how to go to the grocery store and whatnot. With coupling with that and a couple with Blue Ridge Medical, I know they've been very good about talking to their patients and handing out info and stuff. So those are the two areas I've been sending people.
So the couple of conversations with the other elected officials was budget related, right?
Oh yeah.
So we're
now we did something pretty big.
No, so share.
I did. I was going to ask you about that. Dude, I thought, and I'm going to get out of your way, man. Props to you and what you guys are doing for the business community.
Oh, yeah.
I hope Charlottesville, Albemarle, and the rest follow suit, Jesse.
Amen. Now, let me tell you something. When it comes to personal property taxes is already a terrible tax now. And when we came to the table, one of the best things that I just couldn't believe was one of the ideas that we said it. When someone said it, they're like, why don't we waive half of the year's personal property taxes? And, as an elected official, you sit there and you're like, whoa. And then you got there and you got to think and you're like, you know what? This is what we have to do. We have to governments need to remind themselves that the people do not work for them. We work for the people. And when we have instances like this tragedy, this pandemic, I mean, this is the time to use your rainy day fund because it's a hurricane.
I think it's beautiful. I mean, is it costing just over $2 million for the first half of the year?
Yes.
So just over $2 million. I thought you, dude. And I'm straight up going to say this. I thought you and your colleagues show courage and leadership and cojones. And as a small business guy myself, I hope your colleagues in other municipalities follow suit. The follow-up question for this is, how do you make up that $2 million? Or do you even worry about it now?
Don't even worry about it. I mean, Nelson County has been a relatively fiscally conservative county, and this is before my time period, obviously. And we've saved up a rainy day fund, and it's been in prior discussions in budget years where we asked ourselves, well, what are we going to do? And we've said, well, we're saving this for a rainy day. And you got that savings account, and the rainy day hit.
Use it.
There was not a single person who is part of the decision that even questioned that this was the right thing to do. It didn't. It was just nonpartisan. This wasn't a Democrat issue. This wasn't a Republican issue. It wasn't say, you know what, this is something we have to do to take care of our people.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I got one more on this for you.
Ready.
Small business guy myself, got two businesses. I'm sitting next to a business guy in Smith, good friend here that's got a very good business too here. What does it look like when we're on the other side of this in Nelson and Central Virginia and Charlottesville? What does it look like the world when we're on the other side of this?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's not an easy answer. I mean, Keith and I could go on and on about 2008, and we could talk and how our world's changed in real estate and construction. Man, we could talk about 2001 and the tragedy in New York, and each one of those things changed businesses and how they ran. And one of the things we have to ask ourselves is, when these small businesses come back, they're going to find new efficiencies to do the same amount of output. And with technology the way it is, businesses are also finding out that people can work from home. So internet's going to be it was already critical. It's like even more critical than before, because now I'm looking at a future of rural communities that have high-speed internet access. Well, now you can have a software developer working from his home and raise his kids. You're going to see. I have a theory that you're going to see a change in the family element and the business element, and I believe that you're going to see after this a lot of that going back to homes.
Well, Heather kind of spoke a little bit about that, from a different kind of perspective on it. But I can tell you, in our world, in our business, and we've really pivoted from talking about real estate, but when in a conversation I had with Heather, we're blessed, we're very busy. But it's not this, or it's not emails, it's this. This actually is a phone, right?
Are you doing much of
wow.
this?
I've never. I've never seen.
Oh yeah, so
Zoom, Skype?
Oh yeah, so we're doing Zoom
every day.
closings, Zoom showings, FaceTime showings, Zoom and FaceTime recommendations. The private sector's really adapted pretty quickly to this. But hey, a couple of things one kind of a bummer breaking news, but Dale shared with us that, which I did not know, that every student has a Chromebook, which is great. And
that is a good thing if you have internet. And that's
what they've done is they created hotspots around so you could go to like in front of a school and and
Sure.
work from it. So let's talk a little bit about the schools. We're kind of paving them in a little bit on each one of our conversations. So how is the schools doing? You know, at City Council yesterday, they were talking about potentially UVA not starting back up in August. I'm going to make some phone calls after the show to some people I know in administration to see if that's really the case. Yeah. But how are you seeing the schools and potential August start and stuff like that?
Good question.
That is a good question. You know, first off, it's a heartbreaking experience for the teachers and staff to not be around their children. And I just want to speak to that. And one of the things that I've seen the schools come out of this is, oh my goodness, the teachers and staff have done a phenomenal job at putting curriculum together, at getting creative for those students who have special needs, how they can work with those children essentially virtually from home. You know, I mean, my goodness, our school system's putting out thousands of meals a week to give to kids so that they have food to eat during the week. And let me tell you something, one thing that is kind of heartbreaking and to see that is to see those who were struggling before this pandemic and how dependent a lot of kids are on those school meals. You know, and I have got to say, I am so proud of what our community has done and making sure those kids and whatnot are getting food, being fed during the week. You know, when it comes to the August conversation, man, I hope we start in August. I feel terrible for the seniors right now. They lost their prom. They lost their opportunity to walk across that stage and achieve certain achievements and get recognition for that. You know, that's tough. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, it's tough. But I am so proud to see what our school system has done. And I believe we've also done the hotspot conversation in the parking lots of the school system. So I guess, yeah, you're right. So if kids have the Chromebook, they can just drive up, upload. And
well, if you're not doing that, I would encourage you kind of reaching out to your guys to see how you're doing.
Yep.
So we're just about out of time, man.
Hey, Jesse, you're getting some props from somebody. You want to hear this props, baby? This is going to brighten your day.
I'm ready.
This is from your homie, Elliot Harding.
Oh,
Elliot Harding says, the best board member in a 10-county radius, my boy, Jesse Rutherford. That's from Elliot.
Hey,
Jesse,
thank you, bro.
how much did you pay him to say that?
You know, I didn't.
So, hey, man.
I'm sure this is good. This will cost me a beer.
I'm sure of it. Yeah. So, look, best of everything, best of the family, best in business. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you to all the elected officials. I know this firsthand that you're trying to run a business, and this job that you're doing as a board of supervisors.
Right.
It's a minimum of a 40-hour-a-week job, and you're probably putting in way more than that. So, you know, thank you to all you elected officials. You know, some people don't understand that, right? That on top of you're trying to do your job, take care of your family, in your case, run a business. You put us on hold, buddy.
That's okay. Good work, Jesse. Hey, we appreciate you, and I really like your approachable nature. You're a cool guy. Thank you for joining us on the show, man. Good guy right there.
Thanks, Jesse.
Things you learned today. Dot the I's and cross the T's. I learned a lot from today's show.
Yeah, you know, and that was the goal, right? That's the goal at these to get out. Friday's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more wrapped around economics, and we're going to have an opportunity for a lot of folks to ask questions. We're going to publish this or push that show out. You know, we learned something that isn't too cool, right? We learned we had our first death.
I'll tell you what. But James, your brother-in-law, he's saying one point to bring up. Lloyd Snook's putting out the numbers. And I'm looking at Snook's Facebook page. There have been a couple of others.
Oh, really?
Deaths. So what Snook is putting out, real-time data, a little different than the app.
Okay.
So guys, I think we've had 8 deaths in Central Virginia tied to COVID-19, according to Councilor Snook's Facebook post, which he does daily. Yesterday, there was one at 6:16 p.m., and 11 fatalities as of 6:16 p.m. yesterday. The first one in Greene County, however, was reported today by this gentleman's guest and Dale Herring, Greene County Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, and thanks for Lloyd's. You know, I'm just relying on a different app, and
Sure.
he probably has much more up-to-date data on it. But and then, you know, the other thing that I learned was, you know, Greene County is, you know, pretty awesome that each one of the students get a book, a Chromebook, and then we learned from Jesse that they're given back to personal property tax for the first half of this year, which is helping folks and businesses, and you know, that's putting cash into everybody's pocket.
I love the move. Nelson County, it's worth reiterating, no personal property taxes for the front half of the 2020 year. The first half, they are collecting personal property taxes next Nelson County for the second half of 2020. It's going to cost the county a little over $2 million. One of my favorite quotes from the interview, Keith, was when he said, "We had a rainy day fund for a reason, and we're using it." It was regardless of politics. We knew this was the right move.
Yeah, and you know, if this isn't a rainy day, then what is?
Exactly. Jesse, you crushed it. This is what I learned today. I learned from my colleague, who's a very well-connected individual, that the UVA hospital and health system is losing $80 million per month. Yeah. A startling statistic, $80 million per month. I learned today that the possibility of students not being on grounds may be even more of a realistic scenario than we have thought. It has not been decided yet. And I also learned today that we have some phenomenal leaders in Heather Hill, Dale Herring, and Jesse Rutherford helping steer the ship in Central Virginia.
And you know what? What you learned today is that folks are loving on one another, and that's what we want to promote, right? Take care of your neighbor. We talked about this before. Yonna and I do this almost on a daily basis. We bring meals to folks that we know are shut in. You know, reach out to them. Reach out to the people that need the help. This too shall pass, and we'll get through this together. This is, Yonna and I were talking about this on our walk this morning. You know, this is the time. I'm just so damn proud to be an American right now.
Amen, brother.
You know?
Amen, brother.
This is pretty awesome. People are not in the streets fighting. People are not fighting over food. You know, we're being respectful towards one another. We're trying to help each other. We shall get much better on the other side of this. And, you know, as Jesse said, maybe business will change, and maybe, you know, I'll do a whole bunch more front porch teas with my mother than saying, "I'm sorry, I'm busy right now." And so that's more in the forefront of my brain. So Mom, if you're listening, we're gonna have tea today.
I think business is certainly going to change. This show, powered by the Yes Team Realtors, give a promo for Friday's show, because I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, so as I was sitting here, I just got our next guest bio coming in, which we'll do some promo going on. But so next Friday, we're going to have a nationally renowned doctor of economics come in, and this particular doctor focuses on the real estate side of things. So we're going to be able to do that. We're going to do a little bit of push out on Thursday, get some information out so people can ask us a bunch of questions. But this is the great opportunity to ask a pretty top-notch doctor of economics on, hey, what does this look like on the other side of this?
Fantastic. I'm excited. Yonna says the American spirit will prevail. And I 100% agree, Yonna, with that comment. This is the Real Talk, powered by the Yes Team Realtors. Yeah. It airs Tuesdays and Fridays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network. I'm very grateful for this gentleman, Keith Smith, and his better 7/8s, Yonna Smith. Thank you to you as well, Yonna, for helping make this happen. I mean that, Yonna.
Oh, I couldn't do it without her.
I know. And I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for you. We will see you guys Friday at 10:15.
It's going to be a great show.
This was a great show. This was a great show. Yeah. You guys enjoy your Tuesday. Take care. Judah, excellent work. Excellent work. Well done. There we go. Very, very well done, everybody. Very well done. Yeah, we're off. All the, it's interesting. The shows.
I couldn't wait to take that damn thing.